Hey Tower Uniters, it's your girl Bridget back with another 5 things you didn't know about Tower Unite Saturday Night Live edition. So the reason I want to make this video is because I have a bunch of random SDNL facts I've just accumulated over time that I want to cover, except I don't want to make a random, just a regular 5 things you didn't know about Tower Unite video, and 4 of the 5 facts are only SDNL oriented. So I kind of wanted to just get this out of my system a little bit, so without further ado, let's begin. Number 1. Did you know that while all other maps, as of the recording of this date, have sky barriers, Meadows and Container Ship actually don't really have a tangible sky barrier, and it takes a really long time to hit the death barrier on each map. I'll show some clips of me hitting the sky barrier on the other 3 maps, and you'll see that it's a very low barrier, but for whatever reason, Meadows and Container Ship don't have one of these barriers. And it's really interesting, as if you're looking at the clips in the video, you'll see after a certain point, the maps kind of begin to disappear. And when I eventually die and respawn, it kind of has to take a second to load everything back in. I thought that was really interesting. Moving on from number 1 is our second fact, which is all about movement with the chainsaw. The chainsaw in SDNL is actually a pretty unique melee weapon, as while most melees tend to struggle staying close to your opponent, aside from maybe the katana, but that also has the issue of going over them, the chainsaw can actually be tilted at the ground if you're moving in a direction while being used, and it'll actually make you speed up to really fast speeds and cause some chaos, if you can control it at least. If you check out the clip, you can just see how fast you can go with this thing, and it is absolutely crazy. I really recommend playing around with it. Number 3 is going to be about all the environmental changes you can make when you're playing the maps. So this specific examples is going to be showcasing some examples on the map Frostbite, and as you look at the video, you can see there's a bunch of random, just really small things you wouldn't really think about, which can be tinkered with if you kind of shoot it or just mess with it somehow. And I really recommend just kind of testing things out and exploring what the map has to offer. There's a lot of attention to detail put into everything, and it's so interesting and fun just finding new uses for items. Or just, even if it's kind of useless like the pipes at first, just kind of cool to see. Number 4. Have you ever looked at the SDNL katana and wondered what the text on that means? Well, I was thinking the same thing the other day, and with the help of my friend Sinaboo, we were able to, with help from Google Translate of course, find out that the text on it just says that cheese is love. This kind of caught me off guard, but I'm not totally unsurprised for the devs of these games. They love to hide little cute things like this in here, and I thought that was funny and wanted to show y'all that. Number 5. Did you know that in SDNL, your player model's height actually affects the amount of HP you're spawned in with? This only affects really players that use smaller models, but if you do in fact use a smaller model which is more difficult to hit, the HP you're given is significantly lower, making your total health 75 rather than 100 upon spawning in, to make it easier to kill you to make up for that difference with the hitbots, as if you're of course using a smaller model, it's a lot more difficult to hit you. I thought that was a really interesting and definitely useful to know fact, as if you're playing something like Gun Game for example, that 75 HP difference is the difference between life or death with a single shot of some certain weapons. So I want to put that in the video as it's really good to know. So that's going to mark the end of this 5 things about Tower Unite video, and if you enjoyed watching it or learned something new, a like on the video would help out in the algorithm, but you know, no pressure to do so of course. And on the other end of that, if you didn't enjoy the video, or you knew everything I talked about already, a dislike is also useful to see, alongside a comment so I can better improve my videos, to hopefully make them more entertaining, or just kind of useful if you're only in here to learn the facts. With all else aside, I appreciate y'all so much for being patient with me getting this video out a bit later than expected. I know I said I wanted to get it out by the end of January, but I was a little bit late getting this out on around Feb 6 or so, probably by the time I finish editing this. But of course, with all else aside, hope you all have a great night or day, and thank you for watching.